All right. So, hi, everybody. I'm Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. This is my weekly comic book review show. And this is the mess of books I read this week. We're going to get into those in a minute, but this might be the week that broke me. Monetarily and emotionally, spiritually, possibly physically. Yeah. I like doing these shows. I like reading comics. I like talking about them. I like reviewing them. But what I sort of realized, and it's been a while coming, and I think today is sort of the nail in the coffin, that I've been reading these all in one day, all the weekly news stuff, and I've been working my darndest to get them out, the video out by like Wednesday evening. And then, yeah, that way I figured, oh, algorithms, people can enjoy it and see whether or not they want to get it that maybe that day. I don't know what I was thinking. Here's the thing, I'm not a big channel. The algorithm's not going to affect me that much. It probably won't affect my view count. Maybe it will, we'll see. But for sanity's sake, going forward, I am probably not going to try and attempt something as Herculean. Yes, I compare myself to Hercules, because I read books, people. I read books. I'm just not going to try and kill myself reading all this in one day. I found myself really not enjoying the process, and that's not why I started reading comics. And I really like to enjoy comics, even though most of them suck. Let's be honest. Most comics are pretty horrible. But the ones I do enjoy, I really do enjoy. And today was just a day where I was like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? And so this is probably going to be the last show that drops on a Wednesday night for the foreseeable future. I'm thinking maybe by Friday I'll have the new comic book stuff out, and then you could just, it'll be whether or not you agree with me, or whether or not, if you're going to the LCS first the day on Wednesday, you're not going to care. And honestly, you probably shouldn't care about my opinion on books anyways. This is just mostly if you agree with me, disagree with me, or want to have fun talking about books. We can do that, but don't use me as the gospel as to whether or not you should buy something, because that's just stupid. For sanity's sake, I'm not going to kill myself to get this video out anymore, because I just find myself not enjoying the process of reading books, and that's kind of why I got into comics in the first place, is because I like reading them. Now, that said, let's get into some crappy comic books, because we started with the worst and ended up with the best, and we got a long ways to go on this one. And I'm not sure these all came out this week. Actually, I know a lot of them didn't, but there's been so many damn distribution problems with like both Diamond and Penguin and stuff that, like, I walk into the LCS today and they just hand me this massive stack, and I'm probably about a half of them are from previous weeks, but I'm reviewing them today, so deal with it, people. I did. You can too. And I know this is going to be probably a long slog of a video for all of us, but we can get through it together. Also, if you want to help support the channel and all that, you can buy merch like It's Fine hats at taylorwinder.com. Link in the description down below. It all helps, because then I can buy whiskey to recover from this nonsense. All right. Number one, Lunar Room number one. This book makes very little sense. And the art is stiff and unengaging. It sort of feels like the weird cutscenes that happen in the Pokemon cartoon that I never really watched, but like the cutscenes where they just explain things. That's kind of what this art felt like. And the story apparently is about a werewolf, ex-werewolf that lost her powers, but it's a jumpy mess. It's all over the place. And it's just, I thought I was missing an issue. I was like, what in the heck? Like, what's going on here? Like, it chucks you in, and I don't mind being thrown into action, but this just like incoherently tosses you into stuff it's sort of explaining things, but it's just kind of telling these story threads that seem like they're dangling for something else. And I didn't get it. I didn't like it. I won't be reading any more of it. And yeah, werewolves, whatever. All right, money grabs. Marvel, right? As soon as like they get books, they have to like make more shitty books and try and get more money. So I've been enjoying the Death of Doctor Strange, the main title. And I'm like, oh, Blade's an interesting character, right? So I'm going to pick up the Death of Doctor Strangeblade. This is goddamn horrible. There's weird first and third person narration that kind of just shifts all over the place. The art is just stiff and bizarre and cartoony and clunky. And they managed to take a team up between Dracula and Blade and make it incredibly boring. Like, this was just of all the books that I had to slog through today, this was up there. This and the next couple, actually, but like, this is just a beast of a book to get through, and not in a good way. I truly loathed this title. I I could see the art possibly working on some indie style stuff, but like it's just did not fit Marvel, and there's no need for this to exist. It has nothing to the story of Doctor Strange or Blade or Dracula, and it's just kind of it's just stupid. I mean, it's really dumb. So yeah. And speaking of stupid endings to a dumb story that they still kept buying because I'm a sucker, and the cover buys did it for me, is Amazing Fantasy number 5. I mean, the covers like they kept hooking me in, and by the time I got hooked, it was too late to get out. And this is the last issue, and I'm glad this is over. Don't buy this. Just buy covers and buy prints if you like. Dig the cover. Kari Andrews does great painted art. His art on the interior is ropey and bizarre and kind of action oriented and has some interesting elements to it, but like the characters are kind of just bizarrely proportioned and not I don't know, doesn't seem to fit the story he's telling, and the story he's telling is also not very good. This is just a weird ending to this too. Like it's like, oh yep, you know the ending to Saint Elsewhere? Probably not, because none of you guys are old. Well, you're all old, let's be honest. But it was a dumb ending to his. It's sort of like you like a series wrap up of TV shows, and you're like, well, that was stupid. Well, that was stupid. All right, Tales from the Dead Astronaut number 1. I don't remember ordering this. I don't remember putting it on my pull list. It was in my box. Apparently, I did. I don't know if it came out. It was supposed to come out this week. This is one of those where I'd be like, oh, Dead Astronaut telling stories or anthology stories in space. Nothing that has anything to do with the Dead Astronaut. The Dead Astronaut does sort of interact with the environment bizarrely, and then there's 2 or 3 little vignettes of stories in here that have nothing to do with each other, and like there's no like thematic element tying them together, and there's not even a storytelling device that of the astronaut that ties them together. The art on this is interesting enough. And actually, the little stories are not horrible, but like it's just kind of, I don't know. This is one of those another weird ass ones. For like, what in the hell were they thinking when they put this together? And I just don't get it. So, Tales of the Dead Astronaut number 1. I think it's a one shot. If not, it's a one shot for me. I shot my load and I'm done. All right, Buckhead number 1. The solicits made this sound a lot more interesting than it is, and it's a boombox young adults or whatever thing from Boom Studios. And it's supposed to be like virtual reality shenanigans versus real world, like Matrix-y shit for young adults. It's sort of that, but it's just, again, it's a weird one. I mean, honestly, the storytelling and the way they told this first issue is just bizarre. And the art is also kind of like weird and doesn't seem to fit like the story they're telling. It's okay. It's a kid out of in a new town. Meets some friends, and then World of Warcraft, kind of, sort of. Not enough here for it to do much, honestly. Like for first issue, there's nothing to grab onto and really sink your teeth into. There's like, I get the hook. I get like, if you've read this, you'll know. There's like, oh, what? Yep, that's why. But then it's not even really dealt with, and that's not even the main reason. It seems like for the story to keep going. I don't know, it's a weird one. All right, this is another one. I don't remember this one. I don't remember why I put it on my thing. Like, I sometimes just read the solicits or read the previews. I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. I'll order one in case it's good. And I didn't realize this is tied into it. I think this is tied into a video game. I don't know. I don't play a lot of video games, honestly, because I'm old and cranky. And, like, I'm pretty sure video games peaked at Super Metroid. Fight me. Actually, don't fight me, because Super Metroid. I'm right. You're wrong. Super Metroid. That's where it all peaked. It's all been downhill since then. But yeah, this is Watch Dogs Legion, number 1. The art on this I really enjoyed, actually. I like the art. I like the color. I like the palette. I like the art by Runeberg quite a bit. But it is a insanely boring setup to a story of, like, everyone's watching you in London. And it's sort of been set in the future, I think, and it's probably set in the world of some Watchdog video game franchise. Maybe you're supposed to know who all these characters are. But it's just kind of like the way they went about setting this thing up is just not interesting. Like, the first issue should have some kind of hook to them where you're like, oh my god, that's like, yeah, I'm really curious to see where this goes. I am not at all curious. I have no interest in learning where this goes. Like, I'm interested in seeing what the artist does next on a different title, but this, nah, that in no universe do I just don't get nothing. I get nothing out of this. All right, this was probably my cover of the week and probably my biggest letdown of the week. Mother effing goose, mother F goose, whatever. I also didn't realize this is this big. This is an annoying size. There's no reason for it to be this big either, honestly. Really, the art's not like intricate enough, and like it's just kind of another money grab. They could have told this in a thick boy single issue comic and just fine. Instead, they put it in this big prestige thing. It's not a prestige worthy story. It's taking your childhood, three little pigs, three blind mice, blah 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 blah, and turning into a mob story, which could be interesting, but it is not at all. If you want to read good fairy tale stuff, just go read Bill Willingham's Vertigo Fable run, his Fables. Much better than this. That's an intricate plot. That's got an interesting villain. It's got a long story arc. It's all this. This is a weird ass one shot. I'm glad it's a one shot. And I dig the cover. The good old Scarface homage. And I don't like most homages, but I also thought it'd be anthropomorphic. I thought it'd be about like animals. That'd probably be better. This just didn't work for me. Okay. We're kind of in the fine territory now, the 6-0-ish, the hat, the majority of this nonsense, but we still got a ways to go. So, Hellcop number 2, Aftershock, nope, not Image. Let's see, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna say the publisher from here on out because I don't give a shit. Frame for Murder in the first issue and In Hell in the second. It's all right. This one I might get it in trade paperback at the end, but I'm not going to get any more single issues. The art is interesting enough. There's like an interesting... Van Dyke's doing something like the faces are very, very detailed, which is a little bizarre. And then like the backgrounds are kind of like flat, which is an interesting way of doing it, and I kind of dig it, but the story alone is not enough to hook me to keep going on this one. Not right now. Maybe when it's all said and done. Maybe it'll be a trade buy. All right. This is pure spec nonsense that I just picked up because I'm like, I get sucker, I get the FOMO, people, and I like this cover. Probably my other number 2, maybe contender favorite cover of the week on this one as well. I was out of this universe for the most part, and I'm staying out. I'm not getting dragged back in. I am not going to follow this tale, but this is Crimson Reign number 1 in the Star Wars. This is Kira from the Solo story, and apparently the Crimson Dawn, or whatever the hell. This is mostly an exposition dump of an issue. Like the whole thing is just kind of like a setup, and then then it's Charles Soule thinking he's being really clever with the way he's having like dynamics come at the end. It's not very clever. It's not very interesting. It's okay. I just don't give a shit. Again, it's not enough to hook me back into this universe. I'm glad War of the Bounty Hunters is over because that was enough. That was what broke me on it, and this did not fix it. Although I really dig the cover. All right, Suicide Squad number... Well, hang on. Nope, we're going to get to that one in a minute. Yeah, we're rearranging on the fly. That's what I do, people. It's what I do. Because I actually dug the Suicide Squad more than some of these. And, like, I had, like, 30-some books. So I've just kind of set them in a preliminary stack. And now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, we're going in this way. All right. Soul Plumber number 3. I like the art. Again, the art is weird and trippy and kind of sketchy, and like the cover is a good representation of the interior art on this. It's a story anti-religion, anti-organized religion, anti-everything. This feels like it belongs in the 80s in like heavy metal. I don't know why it's a DC book. I mean, I get it's a DC horror, and it's not really horrific. And also, the plot needs to start going somewhere in this one. This is going to get relegated to a trade weight. I probably will actually read the trade, or I'll at least read it collected on DC Universe or whatever the heck the online thing is, or the digital thing. But I'm not going to do any more individuals in this one. It's just kind of not enough there because like stuff needs to happen and stuff hasn't happened. But I really, really do actually dig the art. So sacrilegious, somebody summoning demons. They're not really demons. Whatever. It's yeah. This is we're gonna stick in this order. Scumbag number whatever this is 11. This one's starting to lose me. Honestly, this is probably gonna get pushed back to trade too. I enjoyed what Remender's doing, and I enjoy the character, but like it's kind of it's starting to get repetitive, and like I don't have the energy for it to like. I enjoy the ridiculous over the top nature of it. I really do, and I enjoy the character of the Scumbag. But it's just churning at this point, and there's no new ideas really being presented, and it's not. Yeah, this issue is setting up a new arc, I think, and it's just kind of didn't do much. While I enjoy the fact that there's different artists in every issue, for the most part, I didn't really care for this issue's art, and my Bashi Boshi, I didn't think it fit the previous stuff. Although the facial characteristic of the Scumbag, not bad, but I didn't like the rest of it. And yeah, I just kind of I'm burned out on it. It's just kind of it's enough. Yeah, all right. We're gonna do this now. Batman 118. That's the new creative team or new semi filler. I don't know. I can't tell. Molina's art on this is great. I love Molina's art. Williamson can usually tell a pretty solid story. The thing is, this issue pick it up from the sort of mess that Tynan left, and like that's mostly what this issue is. It's fine. It's kind of like trying to reset things, but it's too chicken shit to actually really do it. And so like it's just Batman just gonna leave town and go solve a crime somewhere else. It feels like it's one of the other 4,000 Batman titles out there. There's nothing really new and special about this. There's a new intro to a new villain that's probably not going to go anywhere because the Batman villains, unless you're the Silver Age ones, none of them really seem to stick. Other than Batman Who Laughs might be different. I'm going to give this another issue or two. I'm going to give Williamson the benefit of the doubt on this, but if this doesn't pick up, I might be just done with Batman. I just Tynan burned me out on it, and this is not the truly refreshing breath of fresh air that I was hoping for. It's just kind of like, oh, yeah, okay. We're going from there. All right, now here we go. Suicide Squad number, whatever, 10. This took a dip in quality pretty hardcore the past couple of issues. This is, I think, ramping it back up, and I enjoyed this issue more than I had the past. I was getting really close to dumping this one, but I'm going to hold on for a little while longer. There's machinations, there's evil, there's the people trying to get out of the squad. It's kind of like everyone versus Amanda Waller for the most part, except for Major Force. And there's a lot of characters I just don't honestly know, but I'm okay with that. And like they're always getting into shenanigans and starting stuff and dying, which in Suicide Squad you're supposed to. I actually kind of wish there was a little more depth in the book, but it's been a fun read, and I'm going to keep it up for a little while longer. Okay, Venom number 2. I'm pretty sure this is last week's. This is round V. With Hitch on the art, and then yeah, I think the next issue is probably gonna be Cosmic. I don't know if they're doing every other issue on this, but like there's two different writers, right? There's Ron V and Al Ewing, and Ron V's handling the Dylan stuff. This is, you ever see the old Hulk TV show where Bruce Banner's on the run? That's this. Dylan's on the run. Government forces are after him, but don't make him angry. He's gonna turn into Venom. It's all right. It's not bad. I like Ron V's indie stuff much better, and I like another book down in this line a lot better. So we'll get there. I got to retape this because I taped it like an amateur, people. I taped it like an amateur. But here we have another book that's going to get relegated to the trade pile if they do any more of them. I think it's on. This is wrapping up a volume, and it's fun, and I really enjoy it. It's Chew, number 10. John Layman just tells weird, wacky, fun heist adventure stories, and this is no different. It's a very satisfying conclusion to this arc of a weird time caper with paintings and Cebopaths and Cebomoths and food-related superhero powers and grossness and cartooniness. Dan Boltwood on the art is exaggerated and cartoony as well. Fits the story. It just kind of reads better as a trade, and I'm not going to just keep up with the singles on this one. It reads better as a whole. So it's going on the trade weight pile from here on out. All right. Hellions number 18. This is the last issue of Hellions, and it wraps up some things pretty well. It's a pretty satisfying conclusion to this series. This has been the best X book, in my humble opinion, thus far. After Powers of X and whatever House of X or whatever, I picked up, tried every title of X-Men, I believe, and like this is the only one that stuck for me. I read the main X-Men when Hickman was on it, but I'm not reading it anymore because you couldn't pay me enough to read Gary Duggan. But yeah, it's a satisfying conclusion to this band of misfits, this team that shouldn't work, that didn't really work. The only thing I wish they had more of is more consequences for Mr. Sinister. But it's Mr. Sinister. He's a villain. He's not going to have consequences. So if you've been reading this, let me know what you thought, because I think it does wrap it up pretty well. I don't see them bringing this one back. I think it's probably done, and that's okay. I think 18 issues was a good long thing with this. It did dip in quality in a bit there, but this is a ramp back up to a good ending. Okay, Animal Castle. This is the new spec book because of Stray Dogs, I guess. I don't know. Every anthropomorphic book is now a spec book. This is pretty much Animal Castle, or this is pretty much Animal House. No, wait, 1984. That's it, right? Yeah, overthrowing the regime. We're all have to be kept in place and know your place in society. And there's rulers, and there's animals, adorable little animals. It's okay. It's not bad. I like the art quite a bit. I like the didn't mind the story. I'm enjoying it. I probably will continue with this one. This is just to see where it goes, at least in the second issue, and see how closely it does follow this sort of Orwellian 1984 storyline. But yeah, thus far it did hook me. I don't see it as a giant speck. I don't think it has the same legs as Stray Dogs, but I'm wrong all the damn time, especially about spec stuff. Okay, 1-star Squadron number 1. This is DC's version of, what is it, Heroes for Hire, kind of like D-list heroes you can hire to do stuff. And it's Mark Russell who wrote, was writing Not All Robots, with art by Lieber. It's a nice, clean, solid art, and you get like weird E-list, D-list, whatever the heck list, whatever hell level superheroes like the Heckler, which I think is a Keith Giffen book from the 80s. It was awful, and not much better than this, but it's a satire, and this is a satirical book, and I enjoy the satire of it. You have Red Tornado, who always had an affinity for his weird-ass like design, leading this band of like misfits where you can call them up and like they'll get a cat out of a tree for you or whatever. You know, that's what these no-name heroes do for money, and then there's Power Girl for whatever reason. I like this one. It's not going to change the world, and you probably can wait on trade paperback for it, but like if you like Mark Russell's writing, I'd say pick it up. Okay, you know Civil War, that not the Guns N' Roses song, although that's not a horrible song, but you know the Marvel thing, or the Marvel movie, or the Marvel Civil War 2, or the whatever. Here we have Devil's Reign. I'm going to give this one the benefit of the doubt because it's Zdarsky and Chichetto, but this is just Civil War set in New York. Again, it's like Kingpin's got a war on superheroes because they cost some shit, and so the superheroes are having to go underground and fight back. It's Civil War. It's gorgeous. Chichetto's art's great, but like there's nothing about this yet that seems unique. It's just, yeah, Civil War. I know I said that like 45 times, but that's what it is. All right, Magic Order 2, conniving shenanigans in the magical world of Mark Miller's imagination with Stuart Immonen. This is a fun, evil book. I mean, it's like kind of, this could easily probably be a John Constantine thing if it were set in DC, but it's just kind of magicians being dicks to each other and like evil magicians, all houses of magicians fighting each other and trying to either bring on evil or prevent evil or whatnot. I don't 100% know what's going on in this, but I'm okay with it. I like Miller's writing. If you like his over-the-top kind of style, you'll dig this. I've not read the first volume of Magic Order either, so I don't think you necessarily need to. I don't know if I need to know all these characters and what's going on. Just know that flawed magicians being flawed and being Mark Millery. So, yeah, all right. DC's Dark Knights of Steel. I like this one as well, but it's probably getting pushed to trade just because it's a 12-issue maxi series, and I don't. Yeah, it's Tom Taylor with Putri. I can't remember Emily Putri. I can't remember the first name. Sorry. You know, what if Superman landed in? What if all these characters, like John Constantine and Batman and Green Lantern and yada yada yada, were all in medieval times in a weird fantasy world? It's enjoyable. It's great. I like. It's one of the more fun books of the week as far as like just pure enjoyment and fun goes. But again, it's some of these Elseworlds ones I'm going to have to just cull just because like my budget can't handle it, and I do think it'd be a better read when it's all said and done. So, but that's it. Decent. All right. Post Americana number 7. This is the end. I thought the last one was. I keep thinking the series is. I think it's the end. I think it seemed like this is a pretty grand finale to this whole thing. Steve Scroce with Dave Stewart and Phonographics. This is nuts. I mean, this is another one that feels like it could be a heavy metal magazine kind of thing. It's a statement about how, I don't know what's the statement. It's weird and over the top and violent, and there's cartoon characters like Disney stand-ins and stuff that are robots, I think. I don't know. I really don't even honestly know. It's just violent and gory, and yeah, trade it. It's done. Just get the trade paperback and give it a look. I think you might dig it if you just want something that's kind of like ridiculous with cannibals and weirdness and stuff. If you like Garth Ennis, you might enjoy some of that stuff. So, all right, Crush and Lobo number 7. This is still a great book. I didn't know anything about Crush before starting this series, and like, she's turning into one of my favorite DC characters. I hope they do more with her when this is all said and done. Lobo's just Lobo, and Crush is Lobo's daughter, and she's having issues, problems, and hunting down Daddy and having Daddy issues. Daddy, it's weird, Daddy, but Daddy. Yeah, it's a fun book. I don't want to give away this. It's mostly a fight scene. It's mostly one big fight between Crush and Lobo in this issue. And this is the second to last, so I'm interested to see how they wrap it all up. I've got faith in Tamaki on this one because thus far, like every issue of this has been pretty solid. So I'm really hoping it wraps up well. But yeah, you could probably trade it wait at this point because it's like you got one left. But Crush and Lobo, and I dig the cover. Okay, crossover number 10. This is what you expected. Or if you've been reading crossover and you've stuck with it, like this is the giant reveal at the end of this issue should not be surprising. It should be kind of actually blatantly goddamn obvious, and it's a good issue. You get Bendis doing some guest writing in here, which is Bendis-y and stuff. If you ever read Bendis' Powers, you get more of it in here a little bit. I mean, it's enjoyable, but this is Donny Cates just jerking off all over the page. It is pure Donny masturbation. I think he's thinking he's a whole lot more clever than he actually is. My favorite issue this thing is still the Zdarsky issue. That said, I'm going to keep up with this because it is a fun enough romp. It's just kind of like the end reveal. I was like, yeah, all right, we'll see what happens here. Because yeah, it's spent 10 issues kind of building up to that grand ass reveal at the end of this one. But I don't know. Let me know what you thought. We can talk about this one sometime if you've been reading it. I think only Mark from Legion of Comics is still reading it. Department of Truth, number, what is this? 14. These covers are all starting to look alike to me too. Like, I just can't. I mean, I get it. Upside down cross, human cross, blah, blah, blah. This is the Oswald issue. It's a guest artist. The artist actually has, like, reminds me of Simmons' work, which is the main artist on this book. And this is sort of like, yeah, how the Lady in Red came to be, maybe, if it's true, but nothing's true, or everything is true. It's true if you believe it, kind of. It's Tynan talking. The whole book is all dialogue, for the most part, and that actually plays to Tynan's strengths, and it works when it works. Like, it works on this title, it works on Nice House on the Lake. Where it didn't work was Batman. But on something like this, yeah, like it's like a meta, modern X-Files with a little bit more supernatural thrown in just for flavor. But, yeah, I'm enjoying it still, even with the fill-in artist. All right, we're getting there. Well, no, we're not. We got a bunch left. Inferno number 3. I really wish that Marvel would have just let Hickman do his damn thing, because this is everything I wanted out of the X-Men. It's got weird, bizarre plots. It's got scheming, and it's got Sentinels, and it's got evil corporations. It's got Cypher and Warlock, and all characters didn't. And you learn more about Krakoa. You learn more about the island. You learn more about the Sentinels. You learn more about Moira Taggart. You learn a bit about Mystique and Destiny. You learn all these things that Hickman had in play in the long game that I think he's being forced to condense now into this. And I don't mind the condensing of it. I'm enjoying this story. I just wish that instead of the 40,000 mediocre X-Men titles, they just let Hickman have a main title and called it a day, and you just had along for the X-Men ride. But that's not the Marvel way. They like to churn out 18 books of mediocre shit. And I think the X-Men suffered for it, and I think people are burned out on all of it, and it's too bad because this is great. And Hellions actually is pretty good, but the rest of that was just hot goddamn garbage, and that's just Marvel. It's just, and DC too, but DC with Batman, Marvel with the X-Men, and Marvel with ASM and Spider-Man. But Jesus, just give me one solid core title of each, and just stop dicking around with all this other crap, especially in a paper shortage. I mean, I might have to start wiping my ass with some of these. We're on paper, people. All right, Crimson Cage number 1. This is another bizarre ass book, but I enjoy this one. 80s road wrestling, so not the WWF, but low level, barely scraping by, technically pro wrestlers that can sort of maybe feed their families. combined with Macbeth. And it's a weird combination. And there's the scheming and plotting and Shakespearean elements, and the Shakespeare is meeting the world of semi-pro wrestling. It's weird. It's pretty great. I dug it. It on other weeks it probably would have been my favorite book of the week, but I had let's see, 5 more that I'm doing this week. But these are all probably interchangeable for the most part. Like I could probably swap these all out. Although, I like this one. So give it a whirl. I know my reviews are not quite as in depth with all these this week too. I just have too damn many books to get through. So tough. Sorry. Made it career number 6. This is the finale of this. I really enjoyed this finale. It's not okay. I know another reviewer said it was like very cerebral and very unexpected. There's a bit of that, but it's also kind of like, okay, it's the idea of consciousness and identity and what constitutes an identity, and talking about AI and where we're all going to start going, and a really well hung robot somewhere in there. So. But it did wrap it up really well. It's not going to be my favorite miniseries of the year, although it's up there. And I think I'm going to probably do a favorite miniseries of the year countdown video at some point if I can get around to it. Let me know if you want to see that in the comments down below. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. It was a surprise book because I really didn't expect to like it from the get-go. But it's been engaging, and it's taken some twists and turns throughout the way that I did not expect. And this ending, I sort of... I didn't actually know. I can't say I expected this, but it is a satisfying ending to the miniseries. Swamp Thing number 10, which was going to be the last issue. Now it's 10 of 16 because it's Ron V. This is the other Ron V book. Look, see? I like Ron V when he's doing this kind of thing. And I don't mind him on the Venom. Anyways, we're not talking about Venom right now. We're talking about Swamp Thing. The Sean Perkins art is really gritty and really fits the book. Ron V definitely has a environmental message he's telling here, as well as a relationship and people message. And people are the bad guys. I know, shocker, right? Humanity's evil. Who could have guessed? Go get your goddamn vaccinations, people. It's solid, and it definitely needed more room to breathe. So I'm glad they extended it to 6. There's 16. It's going on a little bit of a break now, so you got a couple months, and this kind of has a little bit of a cliffhanger ending, but it would not have worked to end the series, I don't think. But it works in this. Go pick this book up if you have any interest at all in Swamp Thing. Go read these issues because they're worth it. And honestly, it's one of DC's better titles they've been putting out, and it's been consistently pretty good since the get go. Even when it had shoehorned in like a Suicide Squad crossover, Ron V still managed to make it work. Thankfully, it's done now. We're back to the story I think he wanted to tell, and I mean he might have been able to do it in 10 without having all that nonsense shoved in there. But yeah, something. All right, Firepower. Speaking of consistency and how this book's, I think it's very hard for a book to stay consistently good throughout the run. I think it's really tough. But this book has managed to do it for me thus far. Firepower. It's number 18, and like Robert Kirkman and Chris Samney work very, very well together. Like Kirkman lets Samney tell his action sequences without a lot of words, and Samney's very, very good at like clearly telling these stories. And it's a bombastic, over the top martial arts action adventure. That's what Marvel should have done with, like, say, Shang-Chi or Power Man or Iron Fist, whatever. Yeah. But it's an indie book. It could have been that. I mean, honestly, it has been fantastic for 18 issues. It's a pretty quick read, and a lot of the issues are. And I think that maybe the book gets knocked a little bit because of that, but because it's so action-oriented. But if you want to read a comic book that has well-crafted action sequences and an ever-building threat storyline that's been pretty intensely paced throughout, just pick up Firepower. Honestly, it's been pretty good all the way for all 18 issues. I can't think of a single issue in there where I've been like, oh, that's awful. But no, I mean, it's been pretty solid. So. All right, Me Love in the Dark. This is the last issue of this. This actually might make my list for the top. It's not probably not going to be the top, but it's a very solid ending to this. It's Scotty Young, it's Jorge Corona, and it's a horror-ish. Yeah, it's a horror story about falling in love with an abusive relationship with a house. I mean, you know, so, and this is the resolution to it and the escape from the said abusive relationship, or the finale, at least. And the nature of art and inspiration and all that, and the art on the Jorge Corona's art is gorgeous. There are like quite a few wordless pages in this book as well, so it's another quick read, and it's kind of like you can probably breeze through the 5 issues fairly quickly, but I think it's worth checking out if you want like just a solid 5 and done, kind of horrific and yet gorgeous. Mean Love in the Dark. Okay, we got 2 left. 2 left, people. What's the furthest place from here? Number 2. This is another. I think the first issue really hooked me, and this did as well. There's not a whole lot really that happens here. They're searching for one of the lost people that had like the people that got lost in the first issue, and like it's all kids, and each of these kids like they have gangs, and all these gangs occupy empty buildings, like a grocery store or a bank or something like that, and like you don't invade other buildings without starting turf wars. So it's like post-apocalyptic warriors and I don't know, Red Dawn. It's bizarre. They're not really explaining what happened to any of the adults or really explaining how the kids get food or anything, although there's a little bit that goes on. It's just weird enough and fun enough and like kid logic-y enough that I'm hooked, and like I'm along to see where this one goes. Not a whole lot gets explained here. But I mean, and it's pretty thick, and it's still a pretty quick read. But it's one of my favorite books that's going on right now, so it has the potential to be a maybe 2022's miniseries of the year. Maybe we'll see. But yeah, what's furthest place from here? Number 2, and finally, my surprise, my dark horse candidate, my dark horse pick of the week, because it's published by Dark Horse. Daisy number 1. I don't remember ordering this one at all either, and I don't remember anyone talking about this, but it was in my box. And it might have come out a couple weeks ago, so if it did, whoopsie, but I don't care. It's my show. Angels, demons, giants, small town murder, and small town missing people, and an investigation, and like a weird enough story with like biblical elements and or apocryphal. Words are hard, people. It's been a long damn day. It's been a long time reading these books. This has what I want in a first issue. It's enough of a hook where you're like, what in the hell is going on? And it's weird enough you're like, holy crap, that's a unique story. And then it's also familiar in ways where you're like, oh, okay, it's familiar until it isn't, and then you're like, oh wow, didn't expect that. And I'm really excited to see where this one goes. It's an interesting one, and I've not heard a lot of people talk about it. I don't really want to spoil what's going on in it, but like it's not. At first, I thought it was one thing. At first I thought it was just like a small town, like that Texas Blood kind of small town murder thing. And then I also thought it was like, oh, an epic godlike fantasy. It's neither of those things, I don't think. Or it's both. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, that's my pick of the week. My book of the week, my favorite of the week, my whatever you want to call it, my least unfine is Daisy number 1. My only complaint is it's like, and it's an ongoing thing with Dark Horses, their paper quality is absolute garbage. This book is thin as hell and wavy as all hell because Dark Horse does, I don't know, they just skimp on, how much was this one? $4, okay, so it's not a $5 book at least, but it's like, their paper quality is absolute dog shit. But that's my favorite book of the week. All right, I'm going to get out of here. That's what I read this week. And like I said, next, stay tuned. I'm still going to do these reviews. Just don't probably look for my Wednesday night because I'm tired, people. I'm old and tired. And I'm going to Comic-Con tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. Because when you had the whole day of comics, much better than a whole weekend of comics. Actually, I'm more looking forward to meeting the people and hanging out and doing all that. But whatever. It's all fine. Don't be a dick, even if you read 33 books in one day.